This is Savvy Wisdom,
a heart-to-heart podcast you didn't know you needed.
Hosted by Dr. Tamika Sanders and Cheyenne Stoom. Savvy Wisdom is a monthly interactive podcast for women who value their well-being and growth that highlights the unique challenges women face daily.
We talk about the relevant issues, their impact to our well-being, share expert insights, best practices, and provide resources and support for your journey right along with you. Dr. Tamika Sanders has 20 years of experience working with schools and businesses in the areas of training and development, public programming, and leadership development. Her work revolves around bringing a diversity of real-world perspectives into programming initiatives and creating strategic community partnerships that can generate revenue and provide access to resources and opportunities for marginalized groups.
Cheyenne Stoom is a multi-talented Cali creative with 20-plus years of extensive banking experience, with a proven track record for driving transformative change and fostering a culture of excellence through process improvement, DEI, strategy planning, and program management. She is also an entrepreneur and focused on intentional well-being with multiple offerings that allow her clients to connect, learn, inspire, and grow.
Hey!
Hey.
Yes.
So long time no see, right? For the episode, but not in person.
Yeah.
We've been so busy lately, just with everything, right? We're so excited to be back together to just show you all what we've been doing, talk about what's coming up next, and just explain the amazing ecosystem and community that we're building.
Absolutely. I am so excited about this. So yeah, we wanted to take this time to connect and answer questions that we've been getting from people as we've been going on this journey. And so we wanted to start with who we are and why this exists, which sometimes I think when we're kind of like going through the motions of everything, sometimes we kind of forget to take a step back and to like really connect to like, what are we doing and why, which is something we talk about in our book, right? And something we're going to get to go into with our visionaries. As you may or may not know, this podcast, it started because we were living through things that we needed to talk about. And we were processing our lives out loud. We were dealing with Superwoman syndrome. We were dealing with the exhaustion of doing everything right and still feeling off and still having disappointment and, disruption and dis-ease within ourselves. And so, by the last episode, we realized that, hey, these chapters for our book, Resilience and Reinvention in a Chaotic World, which was our very last episode, we realized that those chapters had already been written. And the book was living inside the podcast the whole entire time. But we also knew that no existing framework really captured the full reality of what we are navigating now. So we decided to build one. And when we officially started our LLC, we realized that we really are building something bigger. And with that, we needed to be clear on our shared values, our vision, our mission, our purpose, driving what we do and anchoring us when it gets hard. So we wanted to take a moment to share that with you. So starting with our vision is a world where women move through life unmasked, unburdened, and undeniably in their own purpose. That's all I've ever wanted. That's all I ever wanted.
For us to just let our Black girl magic shine, let who we are live, even with all the other expectations, we need to be walking fully in our purpose, because that is the only way we can truly be happy and really be energized in the things that we do and the people that we're supporting. Otherwise, we're using all of that energy for someone else. And then at the end of the day, it feels empty because it's really not what we were designed to do and use our gifts for. So very excited.
That part. And so when it comes to our mission, we create transformative spaces, resources, and experience that center women committed to reclaiming their agency, joy, and power. And it's all triadem, okay? It's all triadem. Agency, joy, and power.
Right. Because you can't have one without the other. You can have joy, but it doesn't feel so good if you don't have agency and control over your life and you don't have any power. Things are just happening
Yeah,
to you. But so all three of
absolutely.
those are important. You need joy. Joy transcends all of those. It really makes all of those worth it because you enjoy what you're doing. Going again back to walking in your purpose because you are fulfilled and you feel like what you do matters.
Absolutely. And then there's purpose. So, our purpose is to awaken the truth that women are wholeheartedly. I'm sorry, let me start that. Because I was putting my heart into it, okay? To awaken the truth that women are whole, worthy, and powerful architects of our own destiny. I know we said there, but actually, I'm going to say in our destiny.
Hour.
Yes, yes. And I think that that is really important. So, I know that we encounter a lot of different challenges, and so like as you may know, Tamika, I had this hanging up in my hallway, right? And I have to walk by it every single day. And in the last couple of days, I've been really like intentional about let me take a step back and let me root myself and let me remind myself of what are we here to do? Because I feel like, yeah, that definitely helps to refill me when I'm thinking, man, this is so hard. This
Yeah.
can be so hard. And so in connection with that, there's also our values, and these like this is something that's really important to me because anyone who's worked inside of any organization, you've seen the company values. Maybe they in the old school days they used to be on those, like, what is it, those large poster pictures, and it's like, oh, that's nice. They don't really mean anything though.
Not at all.
It don't really mean anything though. And so then, thinking about Savvy Wisdom and the opportunity that we have here, it was really important for us to land on what our values truly are so that it's something that you and I are working together as co-founders of this, but also so that we can anchor the visionaries who are coming to be a part of this journey so that they know what they can expect from us. And so our three values are authenticity, empowerment, and resilience, which really shouldn't be much of a surprise in anything that we've been talking about here. But I love how it was a couple of visits ago when you and I got to do kind of our own little strategy session, and we formed our value statements that are aligned, with our principles, right? And so I love this. And I was reading this just before we started, and I think it's again important for us to have this reminder, but also to encode it to just continue to allow like it to move through us in all that we do, right? So we embody truth in every form without apology or performance. Our work invites women to reclaim their narratives, define success on their own terms, and lead from their wholeness. And that's on authenticity. All right, the next one is we nurture spaces of restoration and renewal. Rooted in community care and wisdom, we remind each other that thriving is the art of rising, resting, and returning to ourselves again and again. And that's on resilience.
Yes. That rising and that rest. That rest is so important.
Ooh,
Again and again. Yes. Hmm.
because it does not end, and I think sometimes we feel like, oh, okay, no, there's no end to the game. This isn't a game.
Doesn't ever feel like there's rest, but we have to
It don't
feel.
work that way. Absolutely. And then lastly, we create experiences that awaken agency, clarity, and confidence. Through tools, stories, and sisterhood, we help women move from surviving to self authoring while building sustainable pathways. And I feel like this is absolutely a great way for us to start this episode, because as we talk through the different things that we're doing within Savvy Wisdom, I feel like that's going to just be a beautiful embodiment of how we are holding ourselves accountable to that and how we are doing that. And I'm really excited. about where we're going. And so, Tamika, when we first started this podcast, did you think it would turn into all of this? And what did you actually think we were doing? I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but
No, it is a great question because no, we didn't. We came back from Afrotech and you had the idea of, yeah, let's go and let's do a podcast. And I was like, cool, that sounds cool. Followed up, and never in my wildest dreams did I think it was going to turn into 12 episodes, and a book and a workshop and all of these things that we now are wanting to do. I really just was like, oh, this would be fun to be able to talk about the things that women are going through, that we're going through in real time, and just validate people that are probably also going through these same things. But I never ever thought it would turn into this. Did you, when we first started, when you asked me about, starting a podcast?
I would say, I don't actually think, well, so you know me, I'll be up here, I'll be down here, I'll be there, I'll be here, there, everywhere, all the places at once. And so I think probably subconsciously I may have known like I may have known some of the things, but I think as we had our first episode and we started getting feedback, and there was someone early on who was like, this is amazing, we want to have like a podcast group in our organization and we want to watch these episodes together. It was like, oh wow, like this isn't just us talking through things that women are going through, but we now have a responsibility here. Like when people are watching these episodes, when people are partaking in our content, like this also means something to them in their lives. And we're putting them on to something, right? And so we want to make sure we're coming correct.
Yeah, it goes to those tools and truths, right? And that's what you always said, like we want to provide you tools and truth. And so even though we talked about everything from our kind of point of life and our lived experiences, we always brought in outside resources and experiences and data to really make our lived experiences kind of coincide with other things that were actually happening in the world and other people, so that even if the things we've lived through haven't happened to you as our listeners yet, you're bringing in things that are relevant to you, or someone that you know, so that it still gives you, once again, the tools and the truth to navigate, as we say, navigate this chaos with finesse, right?
Yes.
That's what we need. And we don't always have a space to be able to talk freely like this. And we're lucky we have each other. But there are so many women that don't have someone that they can just freely talk and be vulnerable with. And we're so glad we get to do this. And we're hoping us doing this is giving you that space. And our visionary community that we're creating, we want that to be a space where women feel that same kind of connection and freedom to be who they are without, unapologetic. I always say that word wrong, so I'm not going to say it, but just free to be themselves, and without feeling like there's something wrong because they're having that moment of weakness or vulnerability, because it's in all of us.
And I love how you unapologetically let us know you was not going to say unapologetically.
Girl, because there's some words everyone says that just trip over the mouth. And sometimes if I say that too fast, it just, So I was like, you know what I mean?
All right. I love that. And then even just like when it comes to things that have come up that maybe weren't a part of our vision, like what would you say is the biggest surprise, like thinking about like how we started versus like where we are right now?
I think I'm so surprised with how well that we have managed all of the things, because it's just you and I. We don't have 100 people working for us. We don't even have 3 other people working for us. It's really me and you. You're doing all of the branding and making sure that we look good. I'm looking about relationships and other things where we can expand. But we have been doing this now for a couple of years, and in conjunction with the other projects that we're doing, our other lives, right, that we are doing outside
Yeah.
of Savvy Wisdom, we are still making this happen. And we're finding women that are, and I know we're going to talk about it a little bit later at our book
Yeah.
launches and other things, that are just literally sending us highlights of the book and things going, oh my gosh, thank you, I needed this. And I think
Yeah.
that beyond anything feels so good, to just know that people are reading it, the book is in their
Yeah.
hand, and they're just like, thank you, because that's what we wanted. In our podcast, we didn't get that live feedback in that same way. So we knew the podcast
Yeah.
knew people were commenting, but the books are something different, because people are really leaning in and sharing what they've learned with
Yeah.
us. And we can't wait for the rest of you to keep doing that.
Speaking of the book, Resilience and Reinvention in a Chaotic World, again, 12 chapters based off of these 12 episodes. This book is really to give a framework, and as a framework to our stories, a framework towards an experience that we have come to recognize as, it doesn't have to be scary. You don't have to go it alone. You can go about it in a way that is going to fill you up. And again, I always say, well, when we first started the podcast, it's the heart to heart podcast you didn't know you needed. But also, once we were able to manifest the book and the workbook, it's like, hey, these were the tools that we wish that we would have had, 2-3 years ago when this first came up for us. But again, how could we have built that resilience if we didn't have those challenges that were helping to shape and form us into who we are today, so that we can confidently bring others on this journey? And so, yeah, the book gives you frameworks, and I loves a good framework. And then the workbook, and you're really good when we talk about this, because it's like, okay, everyone, they're like, oh, I'm getting that book. And I'm like, cool, get the book. But there's that second part of it.
Yeah, because the workbook is so, in our workbook, anyone that has seen the workbook, she is thick, y'all. She is thick. So we try to tell you this, is that they are companions, because as you read a chapter, say you read chapter 1 about
Yeah.
Superwoman syndrome, immediately then go and make sure you're doing that workbook section for chapter 1, because one, you're going to gain a lot more. It's going to make that chapter hit so much harder, but then it's also going to prepare you for the next chapter, which chapter 2 is support systems. So you're already going to have looked at where your time is, where you're spending it, where you are overextending yourself. So then when you get to support systems and it's asking you about the kind of support you need and who you have assigned to these roles, that workbook is going to help you really, really get into that. But if you read the book and then you wait all the way to the end to then do the workbook chapters, I promise y'all will look at that workbook and be like, I am not doing this. This looks like a whole lot of work that I don't want to do. So we really encourage you. We know we've got a lot of people buy the book, and we love that for you. But if you really want the other part to do the work, get that workbook so you can do them side by side. Because at the end, and Shai will talk about it, when we have you do your blueprint, that workbook is going to have it helped you build that blueprint. So it's going to be so much easier at the end of that to have that. And that is your testimony for you and your growth, to see how you have grown throughout reading this book, whether it took you a year, whether it took you a couple months, like you're going to have that. And if you only have the book, that part is not going to hit as hard for you, because you're then going to have to go back into each chapter and try to rebuild those things that are already going to be in the workbook for you. So we really say it's a companion, and get them together, because that's how they're meant to be. Is one, you read it, the workbook, you got to do the work. And if you really want to change and get back to yourself, you cannot be doing that work. And if you are, then the book isn't really for you, because you need to be able to do the work, because that's what our book and our workbook are designed to do. Not to just read and fluff and say, oh, that was nice, but it's really helping you dig deep into that work, so that by the end, you are able to return to yourself and you have those tools. And also you can help someone else, right? So,
And Tamika, if you had to describe the book to someone who's never heard of us, what would you tell them?
This is your tools and your roadmap for navigating change, building resistance, and really learning who you are, so that you can walk in your purpose and fulfill the things that you were meant to do. And that's really, it's the tools and the guide. And so it's like your navigation system. And you get in a car, you start a car, you need
Yeah.
your navigation to help you get to where you're going in a much smoother, faster, more efficient way. That's exactly what
Ooh,
our book and our workbook are designed to do. It's your navigation tool to help
I
you
love that.
navigate and get back to yourself, right?
Yeah.
What is something about the workbook that you're most proud of and that you think women are going to want to sit and talk with?
Okay. So again, we talked about you're going to do some work now, right? But I also want to remind us that joy is a big, big part of our mission, right? And I also think about all of the healing experiences and communities that I've had the privilege to come across in my journey. And one thing that comes up for me, whether it be in isolation or in community, is music is medicine, right? But also we are each other's medicine, but we'll talk about that later. But music is also medicine. There's a lot of medicine, right? And what I'm most proud of is that in this workbook, in each chapter, there is an opportunity and a space for you to actually document the songs that have been kind of pulling you through this time, the inspirational tunes. Like, how cool is that? How cool is that? Like, you're going to have your very own custom playlist, your very own custom playlist for resilience and reinvention. And when you hear that, you're going to kind of be able to hear your journey sonically. And I just think that that is so beautiful, especially coming out of being at this beautiful healing experience yesterday. It was an educational experience that actually started with African-centered sound healing. And it was like, oh my gosh, my mind is blown because I've seen in so many different ways how music, whether it be the lyrics or the songs themselves, how it invigorates and reverberates the different frequencies and the energy within it. So that is what I would say I am most proud of. It's very simple, right? But
But you know what? Another thing I want to ask you is when we were writing this, that we had 12
yeah,
chapters. For you, what was
yeah.
the chapter that you felt was the hardest to write for us? And then what was going on in your life during that time when we were writing that chapter that was the hardest?
I would say it's the dream building.
Mhm.
And the reason I say it's the dream building is because I recognize that dream building isn't a destination. It's like the dream can just continues to expand and grow. It's like, okay, you get to this part of the dream, but there's still more to it, right? Like it's never ending. And so, when I thought about how we were incorporating stories from, our journey, it was like I didn't necessarily feel comfortable with putting a full story on the dream building in that chapter because our story in the dream we haven't finished building it yet. And I feel like that's something that is going to continue to evolve, and that'll be what we talk about as we're continuing to go through this journey with other visionaries. And even by the time, let's see, we are in April of 2026. By the time we get to dream building, it will be as a group, and again, we'll get into that. It will have been 9 months from now. And so again, I'm not going to be able to math that out in my head right now. But we are going to be in a different place then, and the dream that has been built will look different then. So it felt like for me to write on that at this time, it in a way would be minimizing and diminishing what our dream truly is, if that makes sense. So that's why like that was a little bit harder for me. And then also just internally, like when we think about the untruth that we have been conditioned to of being imposters when we truly are not. It's okay, we're writing on dream building. According to some perspectives, are they going to, is that going to resonate with them, or are they going to feel as if we are in a place where we could even be speaking to this? And again, I know those are those intrusive thoughts, right? But again, all the people I run into and the people who purchase our books, it's like they're telling, I am so proud of you. You inspire me. Like all of these different things, and I'm just sitting here surviving and trying to get back to the thriving again. And they're like, I just, I don't know if you know this. And it's like, oh my gosh. So that was a really roundabout way of answering that question. But I would say it was the dream building only because of just the nuance of time and perspective when it comes to that.
And you know what? I love that you said that, because we are not our dream and your dreams, as you go through, they're going to be evolving, right? You may have one dream, and then when you reach a certain point in your life, something may change, and that dream just takes a whole different turn. And that's been happening with our book and the things that we're planning. We have new things that we never thought about doing, and now they're part of the dream now. And so we really made sure that we built that chapter in a very open way, so that it wasn't just a one stop and shop, but it was like, this is the beginning, and we gave you the tools to keep iterating, right? To keep designing and tweaking it, because we know life changes and you change and your dreams change as you change. I think the hardest chapter for me was chapter 12, our last one, when we were thinking about, okay, now how do we bring this together? And you were so amazing. You were like, we're going to give them a blueprint. We're going to literally take each part and have them put it together. And I was like, Shy, you were brilliant, because I was like, what do we do at the end to culminate all these amazing things? And that last chapter hits so hard, because you actually walk away with what we call that blueprint to help you navigate. And it just shows all of your work. So that was the hardest one. And we did it, because also, like Shy said, with the dream building, we're still navigating a lot of this. And that's something that we tell you in our thing. We don't have it all figured out. We're going on this journey right along with you.
Absolutely.
But we're able to share our tools and our truths with you, so that you're navigating. You don't have to navigate the same kind of messes that maybe we have, if you're open and you're listening and you're learning. But it doesn't mean life is going to stop throwing us curveballs.
All day, every day. All day, every day.
But
and I just feel like
in a network, right? So that was the chapter that was hard.
Yeah.
So easy with that blueprint. And then after that, then it stuck, and we were able to really flow and create that blueprint. So I'm so proud, and I can't wait for all the visionaries to get through it, so that we can see that. And so proud of yourself you're going to be.
Because I also think about, like, I think it's easy for us to even flatten what that means, like, for your journey, right? Like, when we say your journey, we're not just talking about in one area of your life. I can't tell you how many visionaries that I know that are making similar transitions from, being from being employees who may or may not have been decision makers, to now exploring entrepreneurship, whether willingly or unwillingly, right? There are so many visionaries who are starting nonprofits that are just doing amazing things, but a lot of them, and I'm coming across it, a lot of us we're being intuitively and spiritually led, right? However, in terms of having a blueprint that we can use to, like, do that in I don't want to say efficient way, but just maybe in a better way. Like, that's what I'm excited about. So if you're a business owner, this isn't like, you're also going to have the things that will allow you to tell your story when you are amplifying you and your personal brand. And just also blending what I learned in grad school on the consumer psychology piece of what I was studying. I knew, whatever it is that we do, it needs to be future focused, and it needs to be in a way that is going to naturally lend to what's inside of us, and using what's inside of us to attract others that are recognizing where we need to go. Yeah. And so with that, now, there is something that comes from this experience and knowing that, okay, yes, you're going to have the book, yes, you're going to have the workbook, and yes, we encourage you to go about it in a paced way, but there's still this other layer of that to really bring it home. And why don't you talk about that a little bit, Tamika?
Yeah. So, what we wanted to do, we decided that because we're trying to create this community and we know we're going to have people with the books and not everyone has the support system, we wanted to create something where we could go through the book and the chapters and the workbooks together as a group.
Yeah,
And we call this our visionary exchange. And so, your book is your key into the visionary exchange, and that's going to start on June 1st. And so, if you've
yes,
got your book, you just send us a message to register. You can do that on our website, our savvywisdom.com, and actually register for the Visionary Exchange. And then it's gonna help you get our newsletters and invite you into that exchange. So starting June 1st, we're gonna start with the first chapter.
yeah.
Chapter 1 is Superwoman Syndromes, and also sorry, not Superwoman Syndrome, Superwoman Syndrome. We don't need many, right? We don't need that in plural. It's already
I don't know if that was a black thing, because we like to pluralize.
girl, yeah, because everything be in layers, so don't just be one thing, right? But so, and that's going to be so chapter 1, and then the workbook. So we're going to have these virtual kind of meetings, which it'll be once a month for you. But in the Visionary Exchange, in the actual kind of platform, which is our community, we're going to have different prompts and posts and reflections and discussions that are there each week to kind of to allow you to also share. But then when we get on that call, however many of our
Yeah,
visionaries join us, we're actually going to get to hear from you. What moments really felt
yeah,
enlightened you? What moments were hard? What did you learn? What was a breakthrough you had,
yeah,
right? And then go through the
yeah,
workbook sections as well. And for that chapter 1, and say what exercise really made you go yes, right? And what one was really hard for you. So we want to be able to have that in community. And then each month starting, so then June or July would be the second chapter, chapter 2,
yeah,
Superwoman Syndromes, and so on. And so we want to be able to do that. And feel free, you don't have to wait for us. You can read everything in advance. But if you're taking it at a pace and you want to join us
yeah,
and do that together as a group, you're going to have the opportunity. So
yeah,
that is something that we are so excited about, because it'll give us real feedback and you're going to feel that sense of community, knowing you're not alone
yeah.
in the experiences that people are talking about and the challenges they might have faced as they go through each chapter.
And so, Tamika, community and facilitation, I know well, I don't know as much about the community part of it other than like physical community. I know you out there in Phoenix, right? But I know that facilitation is more your world, right? Learning and training and development. So what do you want women to feel the first time that they step into or virtually step into this visionary exchange?
Oh my goodness. I want them to feel empowered and knowledgeable, and like their lived experiences, good and bad, they matter, and that they can use them as a tool. Good or bad, we learn from everything, right? And we can
Yeah,
use those to help us get where we need to go. And so that's how I want them to feel empowered, have that sense of support, that they have a
yeah.
group of people, women that understand, and that, again, we're all in this journey together.
Awesome.
What does it mean to you to have this community be free, and why did we build it for our visionaries? Why do we call it Visionary Exchange?
Okay, you know what? That's a great question. And some people might think, they might think we're crazy for this, right? Like having a free community. Oh my gosh, what? But when I think about like all of the endeavors that I'm embarking on, there's one consistent thing that comes up for me, and that is sustainability. Regenerative, reciprocal. Like these are all things that are again natural to us, and I think more in congruence with our joy, with our peace, with our thriving, right? And it's not something that we are typically afforded in a lot of spaces, systems, environments, processes, whatever, right? So I thought, if someone is taking the time to invest in us and invest in themselves and buying this book and or workbook, although again, I'm telling you, you're going to want that bundle. But if they have taken that time to invest in themselves and invest in this journey, I know that the same similar limitations may exist that existed when this was just in podcast form. It may exist in solo reading form, again, because we're introducing a new way or a different way or more activating way of reading. Again, it's not passive reading. This is an activation. This is a call, right? A call to action. And naturally, as we expand and ascend and evolve, whatever view or worldview you want to look at this from, I'm going to go from an Afrocentric worldview. You recognize that in ascending and growing and empowering and extending and expanding the self, that naturally is going to connect to the Ubuntu. I am because we are. And so if I am going through this and I need to grow, and we're talking about, and it's telling me about support systems, if it's telling me about this or that, then I need to be doing this in community. And so many of us may feel helpless in this time, especially, it's like, just pick any day, look at those, look at the news headlines, look at what's going on. And if you are in a state where all you can do is react to that, like, and you don't have any hope or have something to look for, look towards, where it's like, just kind of giving you the different things that are going to help best sex you up to navigate that, then what are we really doing? Like, I felt like that was so necessary. And just kind of bringing this all together. I always felt this way because, as you might remember, I wanted to start a community maybe 3 years ago, but it was just me solo. I called it the collective. Yeah. But so I guess that was probably a seed like planted in this. It's like all these things I'm building and all these things that we're building in whether it be Savvy Wisdom or my other project, Culture Roots, it's just a continuation of something I was going to build anyway because it was necessary. It's necessary.
Yeah. You know what I'm looking forward to with our community also is because as y'all read the book and you go through, you do the workbook as well.
Yeah.
You're going to find that maybe the people that you thought were your support systems are not, or the you that you were becoming no longer fits the situation, the environment that you were in.
Yeah.
And so you're going to need people that understand that, who you were trying to become, the things that you were no longer willing to stand for. And you may need a whole new set of support group and foundation, and that community is going to be able to give you that. And so I'm super excited about that because me and Shai also, during this process, we've had to let go of a lot of people and a lot of things that no longer served us, people that were really didn't really have our best interests in mind. And we finally had to just let them go, for better or for worse. So that's going to happen to you in this journey. And that community, you are still going to have a group, a support group that is rooted and that is there for you and rooting for you to win. And I think that's really important.
Speaking on that, because we have, there's been a lot happening, so I haven't been able to like fully connect with you on this yet. But this is again, another vision that's been coming to me. And in the past couple of days, I've had the privilege of having 2 visionaries who also have the bundles come to my home, right? One was so that she can do a Reiki session on me. So I got to do I experienced my very first Reiki session, but that's a whole other episode in and of itself. But she is also a sound bowl healer, and she has been such a beautiful and amazing part of my journey. And we are in talks to have some offerings that connect with my pool and sound healing and floating and all of that. And the other visionary who came, who said, every time I come here, it feels like a retreat for me. It feels like a retreat. It feels like respite. And so something that's been coming up for me is, and I know, Tamika, I've been talking about this for a few years now, but there's been some things kind of blocking why I haven't brought it into fruition, but I'm bringing it into fruition. And I want to start, it's a working title, but I would say Sacred Sankofa Sundays, because what I want to do, and I want to do it once a month, it's going to involve food, maybe potluck style, and it's going to be visionaries who come to my home with their books, because while I know we're going to have our virtual call, this visionary who came over recently, she was saying she was kind of disappointed. There was a group that was in person and then it went virtual, and she just kind of felt less connected to it, right? And I've always felt like I know I know what I get out of being in real life community with other beautiful souls. So I was thinking, I'm going to have these Sundays. They're going to come with their books and workbooks. We're going to share food. In the summer months, we're probably going to get to have some pool time and just, I got my djembe. You know, my house is a little fun house, right? But also thinking about like each of these visionaries, I want them to bring a new visionary with them so that we're always kind of growing this and giving people more exposure to what's going on, because that's also how I've been privy to a lot of the amazing experiences that have been transformative in my own healing journey, was because someone invited me to something, somebody gave me access to something, somebody showed me something that I otherwise wouldn't have discovered. And so it's in development. I'm going to have the first one in May. I've made the decision. Don't exactly know what that's going to look like yet, but I am verbalizing it, again, embodying all the things we talk about in this book, and I'm so excited about that. So anyway, yeah.
Oh, I love that, because it's going to be amazing. And your house is one of those spaces you step in and you just feel like, it's a very, you designed it very intentionally with that purpose. And so I'm super excited. And maybe we can have one of our Savvy Wisdom retreats there too. Who knows?
Yes, I'm
It would
saying,
be,
I'm saying.
intimate and just, yeah, just exactly what we're needing.
And for you, I know Mary has, when we were leaving the Phoenix hostel, what she offered to you, it's like,
Yeah. Is the space. Yeah. So I have a feeling we're going to have something very similar here in Phoenix, to have a space to have those discussions and bring women together. So we will keep you posted. We'll have our, like you said, we'll have our online, but it is sometimes those in-person connections are going to be great. And for all of you that end up having the book, if you end up having your own book discussions and book clubs and you have our book, please let us
yes,
know if you've ever love us to drop in and
absolutely.
we're more than happy to do that, because we are honored that you would choose our book for your book session, so or for your book club. So let us know if you need those, because we're always available for that as well. But
Absolutely. And we will, of course, be dropping the details on the specific hows and all of that good stuff.
yeah, can we also really quick, because I know
Yeah.
talking about the book launches that we did. We've gotten to do two. Shy, you got to do one in Sacramento in your city, and I got to do one in Phoenix. Can you talk about a little bit about that one, about what happened in Sacramento and the love that came out and the support?
Absolutely. So we did our Sacramento debut as Savvy Wisdom. Tamika flew out a few months prior, which I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that you made that investment to do that, because I think had you come out and that was like just your first time, I think it probably would have gone a little bit differently. So I appreciated that you got to kind of establish a little bit of a rapport with the owner of Tap Wine Lounge, Miss Cynthia Dees, who hosted that event. We got to actually be a part of that event in partnership with Tap Wine Lounge. It is a Black woman-owned wine lounge here in Del Paso Heights, in Sacramento, California. And that's like the way that space is evolving is super exciting. And then there was also the Black Female Project, which is based in Oakland. And so two of the women from that organization came down and they actually co-hosted the event with Miss Cynthia and featured us as and highlighted us as one of the businesses. Now, I've been going to Wine Win Women since actually Juneteenth of 2025. And I can tell you, like, each one is completely different, right? This one really hit different because this was the first time. Like, this was going from, gosh, people see me there and they're like, what do you do? Like, I want to help you. I want to support you. And it's like, I don't know which lever to pull upon. And it's like, when I make my debut, I want to be really intentional about it, understanding that I still can't introduce myself in just one limited box kind of way, right? But I felt like Savvy Wisdom was going to definitely be the one, and I was excited that like I invited the different friends that I've made along this journey who have also become, my family up here. And they really showed up and showed out for us, right? Um, we introduced ourselves, we told our story. It was our first time in front of a live audience presenting together, and we made that happen, and it felt so natural, and I appreciated how that was responded to. I even love the fact that we rose to the occasion on, hey, like they said that they needed a small workshop. We're like, hey, workshops, again, we'll get into that a little bit later more specifically, but we got to give a little snippet into the flavor of Savvy Wisdom and what you can expect from us in doing workshops. We were very intentional on choosing exercises from dream building because we knew we were in an audience of dream builders and entrepreneurs. And I will never forget looking out as you were like you were taking the lead. I was like, yes, as you were taking the lead, and and I'm looking out and I'm seeing people in pensive thought, and I'm like, oh my God, they're doing the thing. I don't know. There's just that will never get old to me. So like that was so beautiful. We sold out of all of our bundles, and the only reason why we sold out of our bundles was due to the limitations of what we physically had on hand for that event. So like that's a pretty big deal. And a lot of people don't know all the behind the scenes challenges and obstacles that we on the fly were having to navigate and solve for. To bring that together. And yeah, like I will never forget that.
Yeah. Oh, it was
How was it for you?
I loved being there. It felt so special. I love Tap Wine House when they do their Wine Women event. And I'm so glad that that's a monthly thing that they have there for you all to go to. But just the atmosphere was just so beautiful, so supportive, so loving. And yeah, even the people and the Black Female Project, I didn't know about them. And we're definitely going to be working with them and doing some partnerships because the energy that they have of them working with women and really uplifting them and supporting each other. It was the same kind of synergy that we have and the things that we're trying to do. So I was like, it's a no-brainer that we want to partner with them and continue to work. So they brought their supporters, we brought ours, and it was just a really, really magical night. And so I'm
was
for that. Yeah.
And then we got to take that show on the road, and I finally got to come out to Phoenix so that we could have our Phoenix event when the path changes, a conversation on resilience and reinvention. And why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, that one was so amazing. So we got to have it at the Phoenix Hostel, and that is a beautiful cultural space. And it's this outside kind of garden space that as soon as you walk in, it feels like you're somewhere else. It's the lights, the circle. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place and space. And Mary Stevens is the owner, and I'm a so good friend of mine that I've known for years, and just amazing. And so a lot of it, we didn't have to really, they had set up everything for us. We just had to really come in and bring our books, set those up. But it was just that from that moment, we had our playlist playing that Shy created for us, and my friends, the community, we had elders, we had people from my old company that I work with, Saphir, who was amazing, kind of drummed with us to do our opening. And one of our elders, Fatima Halim, who I love dearly, dearly. And then we had some of our men in the audience too. So we had Saphir, we had Gabe from my old company that I love dearly as well. And then
old company.
Yeah, our old company.
And because his name kept coming up in things, and I was like, he pre-ordered our books, and I'm like, that name looks familiar to me. And then I saw him, and I was like, he looks familiar. And it's like, duh.
My Gabe, yes, from my Wow Factor team. Love them all so much. And they're still amazing and supporting and thriving where they are. And then my girls, like they came up and they showed out in ways that I will love them forever for that. And added to the discussion, we had some really, really great discussions and really got deep, and people got vulnerable. We talked about, we asked people, one of the opening questions is like, how many of you have had life just unexpectedly take a turn, right? Where you thought everything was going great, and then all of a sudden, whoop, everything falls apart. So this carefully laid out plan just falls apart. And then what do
Yeah.
you do? And we had really, really just human moments. And I'm
Yeah.
so thankful for everyone that was in the space. We had people that we knew and that we didn't know. But
Yes.
it felt like we all knew each other. And that was, I will never forget that moment. It made me really feel loved and special and just so appreciative of the community that I built here and the relationships. So I thank y'all so much for showing up and really making that evening so special. And I hope now that you have the books, we're all going to also be like doing some of this, whether we do, and Shai, you might have this too, whether you have your own small groups and they're doing book clubs and they want to invite you in and they want to have our book, or if they join our monthly, visionary exchange where we'll be talking about each chapter. But either way, I'm so excited for all the folks from the Sacramento and the Phoenix book launch that got their book and that are already
Yeah.
sending us highlights and things that they loved in it. And we just want to continue that. But thank you. That really made us feel, y'all, we have been going through it, getting all of this done and getting it out.
Yes.
We still go through it, just getting our books here. But
Yeah.
to know that you all came out and showed up for us made it all so worth it. And it just keeps driving us to keep wanting to do more. So thank you.
Absolutely. And in that regard, I know it's still a little bit early and we talk about, well, do you read the whole book from page to page? Do you pace yourself and go to the workbook? There is this other element, right? It's like we know that it's a no-brainer, right? It's not even a question when we are in the room and we are talking to people about the power of resilience and reinvention in a chaotic world, right? But there are others who may not recognize that or may not have been privy to our Savvy Wisdom experiences just yet. And so if you have your hands on this book, on this bundle, and you've already started to see maybe some things unfolding for you, or maybe you just kind of want to put it into your mental, for when there is something substantial for you to be able to write on. Because again, I know this is a little bit different here, right? It's like the change isn't going to happen overnight. But if you could leave us a review, whether it be on our podcast episodes on YouTube, whether it be on the book or workbook itself, on Amazon, on Goodreads, on Apple, on Kindle. Like that is what is also going to help allow other people to discover the power and the intention behind this holistic and immersive and regenerative and fun experience. And so, yeah, Tamika, what would it mean to you personally to read a review from a woman who says the book changed something for her?
I think it goes back to, it makes me go back to the purpose of why we started the book at the end of our podcast when you were like, you know what, this is a whole book. I was, yeah, we wanted people to have that experience. So when we get to see those reviews that show that it did just that. It helped them navigate something. It makes us feel like all this work was worth it and that we are accomplishing the goal that we set out to with this book. And then why do you think, Shai, when we're doing these reviews, why do you think those reviews actually matter? Why is it important for people to take that extra step to actually leave a review?
Yeah. So we live in a world of optics. We live in a world of optics. We live in a world of symbols and me, you, us saying these things ourselves. That's great. That's fine. We can be talking heads, but it's going to hit a lot different for someone who maybe doesn't have the same kind of skin in the game as we do, right? It's like, what is it? LeVar Burton used to say, but you don't have to take my word for it, right? That is why the reviews matter. The future visionaries, they need to see for themselves what this has done for other visionaries. Maybe they don't care enough about you or myself, and that's a reality, right?
It's reality, right?
That is
it's ours, right? But what do other people
absolutely
say?
Absolutely. And again, I know this is a little interesting because it's like we are not on the cover of this book, although if you look closely, Homegirl does look like Shai and Tamika to me.
But we're on the back cover.
We are the back cover. Yes, we are in the back cover. And it's like we have woven ourselves in this to some extent, but we also, have made it in such a way for you to insert yourself into this story. And I think hearing other stories, because again, maybe my obstacles, maybe my challenges, maybe your obstacles and your challenges aren't specifically the ones that are going to resonate with each and every visionary that comes across this. We have varying levels of privilege. We have varying levels of experience, circumstances, dynamics, family set, like all kinds of different setups. And that's something that I've recognized just, outside of Savvy Wisdom, right? And so just when you're hearing it maybe from someone else who literally took their hard-earned funds and they invested it into this, and they took the time to reflect, to do the work for themselves, and took that step and said, you know what, I want to make sure other people know. That is beyond performative. That is beyond optics, right? Like that is that makes it a little bit more real, and that helps to give us more visibility, because one thing that we know is anyone who comes across us, like, again, no questions asked, like you're seeing the vision, you're believing in the vision. But there's a lot of people who do not know about us, and I know once they do, it's a wrap, right? It's a wrap. We're going to be able to change and impact more lives positively, and that's truly what it would do for us at this stage.
Yeah, because those reviews matter. Y'all know, anytime you buy a new product, a new book, a new electronic device, you're always looking at those reviews. You're looking at the good ones and the bad ones. So having them there also means, like Shai said, someone took the time to, one, purchase it, but then second, to actually leave review and tell you what they thought of it. So please do that, and tag us in your moments that you are just really loving about the book. #resilience and reinvention.
Absolutely. So we can feature it, right? There's a number of different channels that we can also feature that to show others, like, hey, like, come be a part of this movement. I promise it's not scary. And so also we wanted to get into something that's been coming up, right? So we have our book page, our.savvywisdom, that tells you and shows you the different ways that you can get your hands on the book and the workbook, whether it be in physical form, electronic form, how to get it sent to you, how to electronically, or how to get it shipped to you, whether it be through Amazon, Apple Books, Kindle, Kobo Reader, the workbook you can directly download from us, right? But we want to get into something that we are doing with this actual book, what it's going to enable beyond the community aspect of it, right? Why buying this book direct matters. And so we have what we are calling the Savvy Wisdom Visionary Fund. And I'm so excited about this, because $5 from every direct book sale, so that means that's $10 from every direct bundle, is going to go into the Savvy Wisdom Visionary Fund. And what that fund is going to be able to do is to issue micro grants and to sponsor book bundles to visionaries who need access, who may be at a point in their life where, you know what, I don't have that $40 or that $70, right? And I think about, like, since we had our life disruption back in 2023, and all the different ways and points in which there may have been help out there for me, but it was not accessible, and how even more isolating and frustrating that felt to me. Like, even if we don't got it like that all the way yet with Savvy Wisdom, it is important to us that we give back and we pour in to the community that is pouring that is pouring in and pouring out to us. So the visionaries that are part of this community, when it comes to those the Visionary Fund, and it's time for us to start making decisions on kind of dispersing that and whatnot, like, that's going to be the community that's going to be able to participate in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited that we're doing that, because that's one of the other ways that we want to be able to support. Because we know it's great to have friends and support, but finance matters, right? The financials really, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
there's so many things you can do, so many dreams you can dream, but sometimes bottom line is you need the finances and you need the money. And so we're so
Yeah.
happy that we're going to be able to start offering that. And we're going to be looking for partners that will also help us donate and build into that fund so we can offer more. And we'll have kind of like a little tracker in the community to see like how much is in there. So you'll know,
Yeah.
honestly, we're going to be transparent about it, because
Yeah.
we didn't get this. Sometimes people look at the prices of the books or the bundle and they go, oh, that's so expensive. But we
Yeah.
didn't do it to get rich. We
Yeah.
did it so that we can give back, but also to provide this community. There's lots of things that we're
Absolutely.
going to be doing coming up, but that is one that's really important to us, because we wish we would have had financial avenues that were really easy to access available to us when we needed it, and they weren't there.
Yeah.
So we want to give that to the community. Mhm.
Absolutely. And actually, speaking on that, so let's see, was it a month ago? A little less than a month ago. I was actually at an event, okay? I was at an event for the Greater Sacramento chapter of ABPSI, which is known as the Association of Black Psychology International. And we were having an in person networking event. And in that networking event, I came across a woman. Her name is Jerry Scott. And as I was introducing myself to different people, and either in direct one-on-one conversation, and then we all got a chance to kind of like speak up on ourselves and introduce ourselves, people encouraged me, since I said I was a book author, and that was like kind of one of the parts of a bingo game that was being played for the icebreaker. I had my books with me, and so when I introduced myself, I gave a very, very short, like, I am Cheyenne WizDoom, and I wrote a book about it. Well, actually, it wasn't quite that. It wasn't quite exactly like that. But Jerry Scott, she saw the vision when she heard, resilience and reinvention in a chaotic world. She thought about a local conference that was coming up in a couple of weeks, the Care and CalWorks conference that was titled, I believe it was something to the effect of Rooted and Resilient, or Rooted in Resilience. And it was basically this program for for students who are also parents, and it is a majority of women. And when she saw this cover, when she saw the title of the book, she was like, this needs to be a part of the swag bag. They give a free swag bag every year, and from what I understand, like, that swag bag is a pretty big deal. And they're able to do that because they have amazing sponsors and amazing partnerships and people that help to fundraise to make that a reality, to put these resources and beautiful tools into the attendees. And so with that, we were able to sell 200 of our books and to get them in the hands of women who don't know us from Eve, right? They don't know who we are yet, but they now have, they will, and they now have this tool. And I just think that is so amazing. And that is, again, that's part of the work that we are wanting to expand with our partnerships, with our sponsors, and with the different things that we are doing. And so, in addition to that visionary fund that is going to help get more of these bundles in hands, we also are going to be starting a monthly bundle giveaway starting in May. There's some, logistics that, we've been working out, but we're going to do a contest where we will be able to give one book bundle a month to a visionary who does the different steps within our contest, again, to help us expand and amplify our reach, so that, again, we can all help ourselves.
Yes, we need
Yeah.
that. Yeah, and one thing, going back to I'm so excited about the books that got to go to the conference, and I can't wait to see what it felt like for them to
Yeah.
get the book, because I know me and you, when we first got the books in our hands, it was just like, It's like we gave birth
It
to a
was,
baby, right? We're like, oh
yes,
my gosh, it's real, it's here. And
my
so,
firstborn.
yeah, because I've
And
got
you,
actual kids. So, but if you
and you my co-part, and you my co-parent.
oh, we're co-parenting to the books. Yes. And we have twins. Look, we got the book and the workbook. So we also are
Yes,
parents of twins. But I
yes,
mean, it was amazing. And so we want to make sure that we're continuing to do that. So the book bundles, when we get to do the contest, it's for you, but it's also to help us. Right now, we need to amplify our awareness. So we need people to like our Instagram, to like the YouTube channel, to share things, to comment, to refer friends, so that it helps our community grow and gain awareness besides, beyond the people that we may know. So that's really part of it. It's just letting other people know about it. And if you do that, you're eligible to get a bundle. And so we'll be doing that
absolutely,
every month and giving that away. And if you've already got a book, great. You can gift it to someone that needs it.
absolutely,
But we're excited about that. Some other fun
absolutely.
things that we've got is we want you to make sure tagging us in those photos. If you have photos with you in your book when you first received it, like we did a fun kind of a video of me and Shai first getting the books and just saying how excited we are. Send those to us, tag us at Savvy Wisdom in those posts, and let us know if you are also reading, a page or highlighting something. Tag us in those, either at Savvy Wisdom or hashtag Resilience and Reinvention, because those are also important. Because we may not be able to physically see each and every one of you, but if we're
Yeah,
having an impact, we want to know, and we want
yeah.
other people to know too, so that we can keep just amplifying and know that what we're doing is making a difference, because that's why we created the book and the workbook.
Absolutely. And if you're not someone who posts a lot on social media, you can also DM us, you can email us, you can contact us those ways. Whether it's a written, a voice note, a video, like send it all. And we've had some amazing visionaries who have put some videos together, some who have already sent us pictures of the highlights, which, oh my gosh, receiving that first text of our book being highlighted from someone and them saying, say it louder for the people in the back. We received that as we were literally traveling back to my home from our Sacramento book launch at Wine Win Women. And that was just like, oh my gosh, it was so like, it just, that really like, that brought it home. It was like, yo, this is real.
Yeah.
This is real.
Which goes into why it's important for us to document this, right, Shai? Like,
Yeah.
why do you think, beyond just, we want to see the impact, why do you think it's so important that we want to document this and we want to collect these from you all?
Because we're storytellers, right? And so we're going to tell these stories, but it is just so much more powerful when we can add the visuals to it. um some people do better, just being able, you can't be what you can't see, right?
I've heard. I've heard.
You can't be what you can't see. So I would say that's one of the reasons why it's important to document the journey. And also because I think about like where we're at now is probably a similar place that a lot of other people who may be more well known may have started out, may have started in. And sometimes we tend to think that overnight, like that success is overnight, right? It's
Yeah.
like, but nobody sees the blood, sweat, tears, disappointment, trials, tribulation, troubleshooting, just like all of the different things. Nobody actually sees all of that. And so I think it's going to be very important for us to be able to show through picture, sound, video, just all the different ways of how this journey has unfolded. I don't know. I'm so excited about that. Like, there's so much content that a lot of people have not seen because I have also been documenting, my journey. It's I'm telling you, we could have a documentary, but I am not signing up for that right now.
But no, but you know what? The thing that I do, and thank you for saying that, is because you have people that like Brene Brown, and you have Oprah Winfrey, and all of these amazing women that have their platforms, and they are making way for other women, right? And really validating our stories and our experiences. But they all did not start off that way. They started
Yeah.
off with minimal audiences, a small impact, but it grew because people liked, shared, subscribed, and stayed with them, right? And that's what we're
Yeah.
asking you to do. If you're part of this, like, stay, subscribe, be with us, and share those moments so that
Yeah.
we're not just talking about our impact. We get to share, it comes from you. And it's so much
Yeah.
more powerful when your story comes from you. Your words, your pictures, your experience, not us trying to summarize it, but you really giving it to us in your voice. So we're excited about that. And more fun stuff. You see these beautiful earrings that I have on. I made these for me when we were doing our strategic planning session that
Yeah.
came down in December. And these are other things that we want to start offering is some swag, some shirts, some journals, some notebooks, some jewelry. So look out for those things because again, Savvy Wisdom is going to keep on expanding, but I know y'all are waiting for some swag and believe me, it's coming. So
Yeah,
get ready.
absolutely. Now, we've been getting different questions, and we figured now would be a good time to answer these questions for others who may have them. So, this is a frequent question that we get a lot. Do I need the workbook if I already have the book?
We're going to go back to that one because, as we said, they are companions. They go together. You don't need the workbook, but you need the workbook. I'll just say that. I'm not even going to say you don't need it because remember, we say we offer tools and truth. The workbook is the truth. I'm sorry, the book is your truth. The workbook are your tools. You need both of them because if you only read the book, you are going to get a lot out of it. And we do promise you that. So don't feel like just getting the book, but you're really not going to be able to,
Yeah.
to do that deep soul kind of rebuilding work without that workbook. But there are a lot of great, insightful
Yeah.
questions, exercises, and thoughts where it's going to take you through that in the book, but you don't have a
Yeah.
space to physically write it. And that's what
Yeah.
the workbook is actually going to give you. It's going to give
Yeah.
you the space and it's going to give you additional exercises to just really, really expand and help you grow. So if you only have the book, great. Just know you're only going to get half of that work done that you really need, and you're not going to have a place to document it. So that at the end, when you build that blueprint, you've got everything there for you to help you build it and make it that much easier.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This is
So
another question that we get as well. And it's so interesting to me because I also think about the different hands that have actually now held this book that kind of were not necessarily within my immediate purview when we first set out to do this work. So a question we get frequently is this only for Black women?
and that's a really good one because when you look at the cover, it's a black woman. When you look on the back cover, it's Black woman. When you look at Shy and I, we're Black women. But the book is not just it's for women in general and those who identify as women. It is for us. It is for us, our experiences. Now it's going to come from the perspective, our lived experiences. We are Black women. So there are going to be those moments when we're telling our story that are uniquely gonna
Yeah.
be Black experiences, but there are
Yeah.
other experiences and stories that we tell throughout the book that are just in general women, right? Being
Yeah.
underpaid, overworked, underappreciated. That's not just a woman of color, a Black woman. That's a women thing, right? We are still
Yeah.
paid less. All of these things we know, right? And
Yeah.
so it's good. Our lived experience is going to come from that, but we really made sure that we incorporate the perspectives of all women, regardless of color, just general things that we as women go through, holding families, culture, tradition, legacy together. That's women. That's up to us. And so
I would
we're
also say supporters of women too, though, because when we announced this on LinkedIn, I had a couple people, I had someone from my following who presents as a white man, right? And he was excited. He's like, I can't wait to get mine. He went and ordered it and everything. And I reached out. I was like, when you read this, let me know, because I truly want to know what you get out of this. Like, I don't know. I just think that is so cool. And then I know we didn't just have women at your event.
No, I was gonna say, and thank you, because we had Saphir and we had Gabe. Those are two men. And Gabe was like, I want to get this for my mom. If you ever translate this into Spanish, let me know because she would love it.
That's right.
Also, yeah, but either way, they're both going to be reading it and
Yeah.
giving that. So it is, I think said it exactly great. It's for women, the knowledge, but if you are a supporter of women, or you want to know what women are going through, you have a lot of women in your life, mothers,
Yeah.
daughters, aunts, grandmothers,
Yeah.
or you just want to be that ally to women, this is going to give you a really good insight because you're going to be reading it from our perspective and maybe
Yeah.
thinking about things in ways that you, because you're a male and you move through the world different, you have different experiences, you might not have thought about some of these things. And so hopefully it does bring that awareness to you so that you can start being a better ally and really create those spaces for the women in your lives and in the workplace that you know. So it is
Yeah.
primarily for women, but if you are a supporter or an ally, you're going to also get something out of this. But honestly, it's really designed for you, but we're not going to exclude our male allies from getting it. Please buy it, and the women in your lives will appreciate that
Absolutely.
you took the time to read something like this, and then hopefully you share it with them.
How do people get onto our mailing list? Well, there's a number of ways. You can get onto our mailing list by going to savvywisdom.com. There's going to be a pop-up that's going to come up that you can go ahead and fill your information on, but you can also scroll all the way to the bottom and there will be a link for you. It will be very obvious to you on how to be connected with it. And then it's also in our link in bio, and also within our little electronic business card exchange that we have. So yeah, that is something that we want to make sure that you know about. I wanted to circle back just really quickly on the Visionary Exchange because I know that we talked about it, but I don't know that we like just there's certain details that we didn't necessarily give, and that is we have different channels that are within this community, and there are the different channels that are connected to the chapters that we will be exploring on a month by month basis. But we also have some special channels because we know it can get a little noisy, between our email inboxes and Savvy Wisdom and social media notifications. There's just so many different competing priorities and alerts and things that are wanting to get our attention. We created some special channels for reflections and rituals, for member spotlights and wins. We have a channel for collaboration and exchange. We also have a channel for tools and resources specifically that we come across that can help enhance this. And then the tunes that carry us. And so we wanted to make sure that we gave space to those things so that they didn't get buried in, in the monthly work that we're going to be doing together. But again, recognizing the types of visionaries that we know across our community and our networks and more that are going to continue to join this movement. We have so many gifts, so many talents, so many different ways that we can be each other's medicine. And so we wanted to make sure that we had a space for that, for those who are looking for it, without pressure and without it feeling like just another sales room, right? So yeah, that's just something I wanted to talk about. And then I think now we should definitely get into something that a lot of people don't really know about us, but it is also a very, very important part about what Savvy Wisdom offers. And that's the organizational and corporate workshops. And so why don't you tell us a little bit more about that, Tamika?
Yeah. So a lot of what we do, since we are focused on women, and Shai and I met in our old company through employee resource groups. There was a women's ERG, there was a Black ERG, and we were both part of those things. And those spaces and those workspaces were so incredible. They had programming, they had training, they had featured speakers and guests. And so that's one of the avenues when we thought about if we're going into corporate spaces and we want to offer training and workshops and speaking events, we really wanted to touch and target those companies that offer employee resource groups or business resource groups, as some call them, that are geared toward those women, either women in general, women in leadership. So if we're going to be coming up with some ad campaigns that you'll see in a bit that are really honing in and targeting those companies to say, hey, if you've got women in leadership, you've got women that are feeling underpaid, or just needing a little bit more space and time for joy and coming back to reclaim themselves, here's some really great workshops that we can offer. But also,
Yeah.
if you've got a women's summit or a women's history event or any of these where you're doing speaking events, bring us in. We are more than happy to tailor and do a presentation or a workshop that is engaging and that will be really relevant to the women in your organization. That's one of the things that we're going to be doing. We have several of them, but
Yeah.
that is a goal that we have, and we're going to be really tapping into our corporate partnerships and companies leaning in to do those workshops.
Absolutely. And on our website, savvywisdom.com, we have a couple of places for you to click on to book your discovery call with Savvy Wisdom. And I'll also be sure to have the link dropped here below. But Tamika, you've been in rooms facilitating this work for a long time. What is different about bringing Savvy Wisdom into an organization versus what you've done before?
You know what? This is personal. A lot of times when I'm doing training, I might be doing leadership training or I'm looking at executive presence or any of that. But it's the thing that we have in common with our workshop is all of those trainings were always about making the person that was receiving the training, making them better. It was about being a better leader or having more presence to show up in a room or finding ways to engage and inspire your team, right? These workshops are that, but my workshops before were really focused on maybe one or two things. These are the same way. They're going to be focused on women and the women in the orgs and the allies that are supporting them. But
Yeah.
it's that personal work that I'm excited about because it's really helping us stay professional, use our gifts, and really walk in our purpose. And I think when we can show that we all know that employee engagement and satisfaction, when those are high, so are business productivity, performance, all of those things kind of correlate, right?
Yeah.
But if one of those things is low, also business productivity, profitability, that also has an impact. And so this being able to have more women that are happy, that they're engaged, and that they feel that their employees are investing in them as women and their success, I think that
Yeah.
is going to be something that companies are going to see. They're going to understand immediately, and they're going to want to invest and bring us into their companies and into those spaces to help that population of women that really feel like they want this and that their companies see them and are valuing them. So really excited, and that's what's different about this is it's personal. Before it was training that I was doing for someone else. Now this is
Yeah.
training, and it's something that has a life beyond that corporate space that I'm really excited about.
I love that. And so to bring it home, the different ways that you can support and partner with us, we've talked about that through this episode, but you can buy our book. We prefer that you buy directly from us. And if that isn't apparent, you can reach out to either of us at either hello@savvywisdom.com or shy@savvywisdom.com or Tamika@savvywisdom.com. Look, we got all the ways for you to get in touch with us. You can donate to our Visionary Fund at savvywisdom.com. You can sponsor a bundle by, again, either buying directly through us or specifically sponsoring it. You can partner with us, so women's organizations, community groups, book studies, ERGs, ERNs, BRGs, BRNs, nonprofits, events, summits. Reach out. Other podcasts, you want to talk to us about what we're doing, reach out, and we will have our contact information below for you. We can sponsor an event or workshop. You can sponsor an event or workshop session. And you can also make bulk orders for your team, your clients, or your conference, or your retreats or events that you have coming up. And so we have a way for you to do that. There's a form on our.savvywisdom.com that helps to start that conversation.
Yeah. And partners, when we think about partners and people that we're looking to partner with, it is people that are investing in women. So we talked about the Black Female Project, how they have a lot of resources for women. But if you have health and wellness,
Yes.
beauty, lifestyle, you have those things that are geared towards women's. You have trips and travel because we all need girls trips, right? We need those times.
Yes.
But also, if you have other motivational books or technology, please, those are great ways to partner with us. Or if you're entrepreneurs and they are looking for,
Yeah.
innovators or entrepreneurship, or even just like the tech, women in tech. These are
Yeah.
all the avenues that if you are in these industries, we'd love to partner with you
Yeah.
because you're reaching women and women that need these types of things. No matter how successful you look on the outside, on the inside, we all have these moments of vulnerability where we need support, we need tools, and we need community. And we are definitely here to help with those partnerships. So please reach out if that's you and you're looking to have another avenue of women to have that access to amplify what you're doing as well.
Well, this has been awesome. I know we covered a lot of ground today, and even with everything that we covered, I still feel like we have not fully encapsulated all of the things, right? And maybe that's part of the journey, you know. But I'm so thankful that we got to take the time today to just really talk through. And I think we should also use this opportunity to. I'm thinking about Boomerang, because we started. We were watching it. We were watching it when he came out. You're like, oh, where's this going? But you know how Lady Eloise says you shouldn't have to toot your own horn, Marcus. I feel like it's important for us to take this opportunity to toot our horns here, because we have been doing the thing and we're going to continue to do the thing, and we're only going to be able to do the thing better with your help. And so I'm just so excited about this.
Yes, me too. And we've been working really hard for you and we're so excited. And there's so much more to come. And again, you're going to have our individual products that you're going to
Yeah.
see. Shy has 12 Summer, her beautiful jewelry, but she also has
Yes.
Culture Roots, which you'll be also seeing very soon with some amazing training and tools that are really going to help teams really look at what's going on with their
Yeah.
orgs and their teams and how to fix it. But also, you're going to see some, different conferences and workshops that we're going to be building and amplifying. So be on the lookout, because Savvy Wisdom is still growing. We're growing together, and we both have individual projects
Yes.
that are going to feed into what we do, but we're
Yes.
excited to be sharing them. But thank you all so much. Again, the journey still continues. We are still evolving, still growing as you are.
Mhm.
Again, we're on this journey together, and we're so excited that you are on the ride with us.
Yes. So thank you. We're going to continue navigating this mess with finesse.
Yes, yes, yes.
And that's on resilience and reinvention in a
That's
chaotic world.
not a word. Thank
All
you.
right, girl. Bye.
Bye.